have Bluefin Technology Partners presenting for us. They've been in this space for a while, and they're going to share their tips and best practices. Here's Rich. They're going to share their tips and best practices in that space and what they've learned to hopefully help you, in your classifieds marketplace, or if you do or don't have one, or you're just looking to improve it. I'm hoping this can bring you some useful information. So we'll start with our presenter, Steve Rosenfeld. Has been a prominent figure in the newspaper technology industry since 1983. So as I said, he's been doing this for a little while and seen probably all of, as I have, the iterations of how newspaper advertising has evolved. I think I told you this, Steve. I used to be an ad director. My background was in editorial, then in advertising, now more in marketing and advertising. I mean,
Right.
marketing and social media. I don't sell advertising anymore. But I came up at that time when, we basically transitioned from print to the first online iterations of classified marketplaces, etc. Automotive, jobs, recruitment were big categories in the beginning. So maybe there is something I can add, I'm not sure. But throughout his career, he has held leadership positions at several notable companies, including Atex, Mission Critical Technologies, Edgil Associates, and Adstar, where he specialized in marketing, innovation, and solutions worldwide. In 2007, he co-founded Bluefin Technology Partners alongside his friend and colleague, Rich, who is here with us, Rich Grover. I'm going to let Steve introduce him more. But under their leadership, Bluefin has emerged as a leading provider of print and digital classified advertising solutions that enable media organizations to enhance their local presence and deliver exceptional user experiences for subscribers and advertisers. So with all of that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Steve and we'll get rolling with the presentation.
Great. Thanks, Tara. Much appreciated. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate your time. We've got a small group here, so I'd like this to be real informal, so that if you have any questions or want to add your opinions or comments, please feel free to do that. We don't have to be too formal here. As Tara said, we've been in the business a long time, Rich and me, and it's been a wild ride. We've seen a lot of evolution in the newspaper space, and so we've got a lot of background, if you will, in terms of how we see classifieds. A little bit of just a quick intro to Bluefin Technology Partners. Rich and I started that way back in 2007. We've got a number of newspapers around the US and Canada that use our technology. And we're primarily in the space for online digital marketplace solutions for classified as well as self-service advertising. And you'll see some of that as I go through the presentation here. We also have a new service called Bluefin Notice Services, where we are a full service provider to help newspapers process their legal notices as well, where we take all of the back end work for fulfillment of placing ads for legals, as well as affidavit services, those kinds of things. So I'm not going to focus it on that there, but if you're interested in learning more about that, I'd be happy to set up some time to do that. So classifieds. Classifieds really has evolved through the years. And I have a little presentation here that I put together just to kind of keep things online here. That's me and Rich. Can you see the screen? Yeah? Hello?
Nope,
Not
not
as of
yet.
yet.
Oh, that's because I have to share it. Son of Okay, technical difficulties. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it, hopefully. How about now? Okay,
It's
great.
great.
All right, all right. So that's Rich and me. We actually look better in the pictures than we do in real life, right, Rich? Yeah. Okay. You're on mute, Rich. Don't you can be off mute. It's okay. Um, so this is really kind of our foundation in terms of, we really believe that, newspaper classifieds are part of your newspaper. It's a strategic part of your newspaper. Way back when Rich and I started, classifieds were really a big revenue driver for newspapers. It was the source to get those kinds of local advertisings into your newspaper. And obviously, things have evolved over time. And how we really see it now is that it's a strategic part of your overall publishing operation. And it really is an extension of your overall publishing strategy. And that's really kind of the way we see it. And it really is the way to go in terms of positioning it. The biggest key to a successful classified strategy is the commitment. We've traveled the country, all over the world, actually, and we always find that the publisher and the senior staff really set the tone and to understand what works for them. And we find that in our customer base, the ones that are truly successful are the ones where the newspaper strategy is including the classified piece as one part of the whole business. And that it really starts with the top-down approach. The important thing here is really to treat classified as local content. People will come to the newspaper classifieds just like they would to any other section, whether it's the sports section or the news section. And if you give them engaging content, regardless of where it is, people will come. And we really believe that's the case for classifieds as well. And obviously, if you have the right tools to make the classified section work for you, then you're going to be successful. And that's a shameless plug for us. So we've got some tools that I'll show you in a bit to take a look at and to show you how that could work for you. As far as local content is concerned, I call it the 4 Rs. The content has to be reliable. And if you look at classifieds, if you get it online in the social media realm, it's less trusted, right? There are scams out there. You don't know who the people are behind it. But if classifieds are coming from your newspaper, they're trusted, they're vetted. People know that the local content through classifieds is something that is valued from your perspective, and it really is an extension of your brand. It's relatable. I mean, if you take a look at the areas of classifieds, people are connected, whether it's a yard sale, a job opening, a pet sale, those kinds of things. It's really engaging content for you. It's also relevant. It's timely. Good classified sites have, timely content. They don't have old content that is unrelatable in terms of, it's out of date. So we always suggest that you keep that content relevant and timely. And it's also retentive. And by that, I mean it's sticky. People keep coming back to it. And most importantly, it can be monetized if you do it correctly. It's something that businesses and consumers alike will come back to and see the value that it brings for whether they're selling their stuff or promoting their business. Like I said, classifieds are sticky, and it really is something that you can really take advantage of. we found that studies are saying that if you have engaging content, people will stay on your site longer if you have a digital platform. That means it's going to be worth more in terms of your online advertising and so forth. And if it's engaging, they'll read your print edition more consistently. They'll come back to it. They're coming back for the sports scores. They're coming back for the obits. They're coming back for others. But if you have an engaging classified section, it can work for you in terms of your goals. Some of the areas that we find are really valuable in terms of the community categories, job opportunities. So, people talk about putting their jobs online. With a tight job market, it's still tight. There's a lot of opportunities for businesses to promote themselves, and the local newspaper should be one of them. You're going to get eyeballs, you're going online, and you're going to get readers, readership for your print publication as well. And that's really important. And if you have the right tools, you could have a way to get job ads of all sizes. And the local community classifieds can be a way to get an entry-level position into your newspaper, and that could be something that could be upsold over time, so that those businesses could be part of your sales channel, sales funnel over time. So it's a good way of attracting new businesses that way. Buying and selling different furniture, those kinds of things. Again, if you have the right packages, whether you might start with a free ad with a certain amount of, where the price of the item is of a certain amount, let's say under $100, those kinds of things. Again, that buying and selling, yes, they can do it in other places, but putting that listing in your newspaper sets it apart in terms of the value, the brand, those kinds of things. Real estate, same thing. You could have first-time home buyers, you could have local real estate agents that want to put a listing in your newspaper. Again, if you make the package right, it will be successful in terms of getting those listings on your site and in your paper. One of the biggest verticals, or the biggest categories we've seen is yard sales. Your local readers are looking for local events. If you can have a sustained seasonal view of yard sales in your community, that's really a strong category, and it's something that you should think about. Pet sales too. We have a number of newspapers where pet sales is a leading category. So if you have breeders who are selling their cats and dogs, again, because you're vetting these folks, there's a level of trust in terms of the value that those listings are on your publication. Instruction, education, and training is another group where, if people are teaching music or theater or whatever, self-help, personal growth, those kinds of things, it's certainly something that you can take advantage of as well. Business directory type services, the local plumbers, the local electricians, landscapers, those kinds of people, those kinds of organizations where they're small, they don't have the internal sophistication, let's say, for a marketing team to work with. If you give them the tools to do it themselves, it makes a whole lot of sense, and you get a lot of value to that. Announcements and obits, same thing. Celebrations, all those kinds of things are important. And finally, legal notices as well. If you are the paper of record, you have the right tools to be able to publish those and manage those. You can do that very well. In terms of the components of classifieds, we really break it down into two areas. One is the marketplace. In terms of the online, we have the ability to show the inventory that you have for classifieds online. Um, it has to be engaging, it has to be relevant, and it has to be, uh, again, extending your brand as part of the overall look and feel in terms of the reader's experience. Um, you need, you also want to make sure that you have both liners and display ads online in a searchable format so that if you're selling a display ad, a classified display, it's part of that online inventory that can be searched, so on. That's really important. Um, in terms of the marketplace on the print side, you can see if you have an engaging classified section, you can see how it really attracts eyeballs, right? So I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a um, one of our customers, this is their classified section in terms of how they engage it, how they show it. And you can see that you can see color, you can see all the effects for making it more engaging. A lot of photos. Also, you can see that you have house ads. I'm not sure if you can see it here. You can see where it says place your ad, uh, those kinds of things. Promotion is also very important in terms of promoting your classified section. And I really encourage my publishers to make sure that they're promoting in both in print and online the classified sections. And I'll show you a little bit about that as well as part of looking at some of our sites. Again, you really want to make it engaging both online and in print. So one of the things that we do is we help publishers get classified ads into their newspaper by providing a simple but effective and powerful self-service application so that consumers or advertisers can come online and create their own complete and compliant ad. Some of the key points to that is whatever you use is you want to keep it simple. Back in the old days, we had a lot of business rules, complex rating and zoning, those kinds of things, where with pricing strategies that are very, very convoluted. And because of the way classifieds are positioned now, you really just want to keep it simple. And we can talk about the steps to do that. You want to make sure that when you create a self-service ad, you can do it both for the print as well for online. And they can have different parameters. They can have different functionality in terms of how they're displayed. You want to make sure it's a complete user experience. That's really important because what you don't want to do is you want to avoid the callback, right? Some newspapers have a form where you just fill everything out as a user. And then what happens is they finish it, they submit the form, and then they have to wait, right? They're waiting for a callback. They're waiting for pricing, getting it back, not in real time. And because of that, you kind of lose that momentum. You want to, just like, ordering anything online, if you have a transaction that you're doing, you want to make sure it's done. And so you want to make sure that whatever tools you're using, you have the ability to do that. You also want to have upsell options for advertisers to upsell themselves. So you want to give them choices because what happens is as they're placing an ad, there's a concept that we call a pride of self-authorship. And that means that if I'm trying to sell my car or I'm trying to, promote my service, my plumbing service, I want it to be the best it can be. So I'm really not getting into the pricing details. Pricing actually becomes less sensitive. Okay, it's actually insensitive because they're not worrying about getting to the next line or reducing the word for abbreviations because they want to make it cheaper. They're just going through the process. They're getting a great experience. So pricing is less of an issue. So you want to make sure you have options where advertisers can upsell themselves. That's really important. And you also want to allow the advertiser to manage those ads. You don't want to be part of that process. If you can do it in a self-service manner, it's going to be more efficient for them. It's going to be a better experience because they have control of the whole process, both a visual display as well as being able to do things like cancel an ad. If somebody bought the item, they don't want to run it in successive editions, so they can cancel it themselves, or they can rerun it as well. So those things are important in terms of the self-service side of things to keep in mind. Any questions so far? No? Okay. We got a few people that are muted. You can take your mutes off if you want. No problem. What I'd like to do is just take a quick run through of a typical site that we have, so you can just see what you can do with technology. So I'm just going to go ahead and get online here, and one of our folks in on the Cape is the Enterprise in Falmouth, Massachusetts. They're one of our customers, and they've been with us for almost a year, I think, Rich. Is that right? Yeah. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And so you can see, in terms of the site itself, we are trying to make it fit with their overall strategy in terms of their newspaper site. And it's, again, we're trying to make it very simple, very engaging, very clean. You can see on the right-hand side, we have featured ads, and this is an upsell feature that we offer with Bluefin, and we were able to put those in a prominent display on the site. I haven't gotten any feedback. I just want to make sure that I can hear you guys. Can somebody?
Yep. No questions so far.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. So this is the marketplace, and you can see here we take the inventory, both the ads that are in the self-service, as well as any that are taken from your in-house service. We can take those ads and upload those to the site, and we can just work with you on that in terms of an export feed. What I'd like to do here is just do a quick overview and just show you some other sites as well. For yard sales, we have the ability to do Google Maps, so that as long as we have the address of the listing in our system, we can apply it to the Google Map as well. And if you go ahead and you can get the map directions as well by just clicking on a few buttons. You can also see here that it was set up as a featured ad listing. And again, we'll go through it, but when you place an ad, you can make it a featured ad placement for a few bucks and make it really stand out. This is the Daily Interlake, and this is the newspaper where you saw the e-edition as well. And we also have the ability to have spots on the page, so that you can actually sell online display as well, whether it's a banner ad here or positions on the right-hand side. And so all that revenue goes to you. We just make that space available on those pages. Where else can we go? So here is another site in terms of looking at the service category. You can see a lot of newspapers have display ads that they've built, and if we get them up in the feed, we can also put those online and make those searchable. So it's really a neat way to extend the reach of your advertisers who don't necessarily have that ability at the present time to be able to say, not only is your ad going to be in print, Mr. Display Ad Advertiser, but we're going to be able to put that online for you as well. And as long as we have data in that PDF that is uploaded, then that ad will be searchable. We'll be able to index that as we upload those as well. So you can see, again, we try to make it really engaging, those kinds of things. We really want to make, from a reader's perspective, we really want to make it a great user experience. Quickly, I'd like to just go through and do a place ad, just so you can see what we do in terms of providing the steps to be able to place those ads. So this is live. You can go on their site and do it yourself. But just for an example, I'm going to go ahead and let's see, what are we going to do here? We're going to sell a house, and so you choose your category and then you choose your package, and normally it's a run package. So you could do a 1 week edition, a 2 weeks, and 4 weeks. So these business rules that you see here on their site are their rules, and they can be different for all of our clients, right, Rich? We really try to take your business rules and apply them to the process. So I'll just go ahead and do a 1 week. And then we have different print styles. So you can do a straight liner, you can do a liner with a box, or you can do a box with a photo. And again, you can see how the starting prices are affected or calculated based on the style of the ad. And then you can just go ahead and start building the ad for print. So we can put the ad in, save the photo, and then we can do, I'll just get some text here. So I'll just say, this is for Andover. That's my hometown. And we'll go ahead and, so every time we go out of a tab, we tab out of a field, we'll update what it looks like. And let's see. So once we are finished with the print, we can go ahead and take a look at the different attributes of the online listing. And as we scroll down, you can see we update the price. So we always try to keep the advertiser engaged and in control, so they know exactly what's going on in terms of how they build their ad. So for the folks in Falmouth, they offer 1 image for free online, and then each additional image is $2 each. So we can go ahead and upload those photos. Again, trying to make it very simple and easy. We also have this upsell called enhanced or expanded text online. So if you want to allow them to add more text online, let's say it's a yard sale and they put the basic information for print, but they want to put the inventory online. If you want to allow them to do that, you can get more money for that. So you can say that, we can just place a different charge to make it enhanced. And also, if you want to make it a featured ad, like we saw previously, you can just click the boxes here. So this ad will now become a featured ad that goes on the right rail that you saw before. So in just a few clicks, as you can see, you've got a really nice print ad, as well as all of the different features to enhance the online ad as well. The next part of the step, the second from the final step, is just a confirmation page. Again, trying to keep the advertiser in control so they know exactly what they're buying, how they're, when it's going to run, what it's going to look like, and all the different upsell features that they've added. Okay, and so that's the one last step before they go ahead and pay for the ad. At this point, we essentially challenge them to tell us who they are. We don't want to force them to do it up front because we don't want to put any barriers to their ad creation process, because that's really what they want to do. so they can either register if they're a first-time user, or we can just, if they're a returning user, they can just log in and give us our login, do the login information, have our login information to log in. And then this is the payment page. So you can just put your credit card information in and hit pay now. If I did, it would actually hit my credit card, so I won't do that. But once that happens, then they would immediately get a response page saying your ad has been placed, payment successful. And they'll also get an email so that they'll have that order confirmation right there. All those steps are really important because you don't want them to call you. You'll also get an email at the newspaper saying an ad's been placed, so you can take a look at it, make sure it's ready for print, and then put that in part of your production for print as well. And once it's approved, then it's ready to go up online to your site. So again, that's really kind of what we do, and hopefully that's something that you know, the tips that you have to be able to go ahead and take a look at other alternatives as well, and help you improve your classifieds. How's
So
that?
I would say at this point, a couple of things. If people want to join us again, or anyone wants to come on camera, they can. I guess how many of you are using like automated self-service tools like this? If you're using them already, I'm just curious. And if you are, has it been a good experience? Obviously the classified sections have shrunk in most newspapers. I just was preparing entries for our newspaper of the year contest, and they requires them to upload issues of the paper. And so I spend a lot of time just looking through them and combining them. And one of the things I really noticed was that the classified sections really varied. Some were really small, almost non-existent. Some mostly were just the legal ads, which, as we know, those are going to keep coming, at least for now, until laws hopefully don't change. But you know, those things are being figured out now. But then I did see some that were a little stronger. And I think all the ideas and things that you brought up in the presentation are very valid. But reality is that people are having a hard time putting them into practice, or is their experience that the community doesn't care about these things anymore, that they don't want to place their yard sale ads anymore with the paper, or sell their things because they can go on Facebook Marketplace, or I'm not sure. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious to hear what the group is experiencing out there.
Well, there's certainly a lot of alternatives out there, Tara, and we recognize that, and that's why we feel it's important that newspapers have the tools to be able to efficiently and effectively be able to have a classified section that becomes part of their overall content strategy, right? That's the important thing. It's not going to be a major revenue generator, at least initially, but we you know, we position it correctly with our customers. We're not saying, you know, your revenue is going to increase times X. What we're saying is if you have the tools to be able to have a classified section that is worthy of your look and feel of your brand, it really is part of the connection to the community. Yard sales, advertising for local businesses like plumbers and electricians, farming, ag. We have ag papers that use it for selling farm equipment, all those kinds of things. So it doesn't have to be a lot, but it really it really is an important piece of an overall newspaper strategy, is what we're finding. And we have publishers that do very well with classifieds. I'm not saying that nobody does, but what I'm saying is that if you have the right tools, if you have the right marketing strategy, and if you have the right commitment, then it can be a net positive for your overall publishing strategy. And it's there, and people are engaged if you have it set up correctly.
And
Yeah, I think
that
a lot
was,
of publishers. Oh, sorry. I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, I think a lot of publishers have kind of, because classifieds aren't the revenue that they used to be, and they've shrunk. There's a lot of publishers kind of lose the commitment to it because they don't want to put the resources behind it because they just don't see how it works out. But it kind of works in reverse, that don't expect it to be the giant revenue source that it used to be, but it really is community content. It brings people to reading your paper, and you can do it in a cost-effective manner.
Yeah.
That's what makes it work. And that's why I think some of the newspapers you're looking at, and they have small classifieds, because they don't want to invest in trying to build the classified, and it's market dependent. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
some
I
markets
don't,
just aren't there for it, but
Yeah.
something to look at. And I think,
well, and it may have to do with, it may also have to do with if that publication is the paper of record, meaning they are the paper of record, they have sort of an obligation to maintain that classified section, so there's a place for the legal ads to go.
exactly. And
So
they
you're
are
right.
a revenue source.
Maybe the papers I looked at, you know, some of them, maybe they didn't have that as sort of the backbone revenue of a classified section. But one category that I did notice that was still going strong, that was strong, you know, when I was an ad director, was these services directories, these business and community service directories.
Right.
So I don't know what other
Exactly.
people's experiences are with that, but that seemed pretty strong in the papers that I was looking at.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of that self-service for Word of the Messenger. It's the problem is it's not very good at the moment. It's a little archaic. It's very clunky. A lot of people still have to call in because they were trying to place an ad and something went wrong or they couldn't figure it out. So we're sort of in the process of trying to figure out how to sort of like really like keep it simple, like clear away a lot of the like difficulties, just make it really, really easy for people, even just like on their phones, just hop on, like be able to do it and like hop off. I feel like that's really key for classifieds, because a lot of it can definitely, like legals, for an example, can be automated to an extent if you have everything set up correctly. And if you have, if they can like place it and then it properly sends it to like whatever your like InDesign or however you like place your newspapers, I feel like it is really ripe for that sort of automation for those very busy work tasks. And then focus on like employment and that sort of stuff, where you go out and actually bring it in instead of just having it come in.
Right. But if you have the right tools, you'll get these small businesses, and they'll do a small job ad. They'll do a job listing on a Saturday night. So they need a junior plumber, say. So they'll go on Saturday night and they'll place an ad. If you do it right and you have the right experience and they have that positive self-service experience, then you can follow up with them, thank them for the ad, but then you can start upselling them, and then they become part of your mainstream ad culture.
Yeah, I did have another question, or maybe I just missed it back in the presentation. I'm sorry I didn't ask this before.
Yeah.
Because you said there's two components. The marketplace, I didn't hear what the second component of classifieds was.
Yeah, so the marketplace is in our approach, our product portfolio, we call it Bluefin Marketplace, which is really the search and display. And then the self-service. So some of
self-service is a component by itself.
Yeah. But they're go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and the self-service really fits into that whole cost effectiveness. We have a newspaper in Chicago. They don't have a call center. The classifieds only come in through self-service because they don't want to staff someone to take these, you know, very inexpensive yard sale ads.
I think it's
people can just do it on their own.
I think it's
and they focus their sales on, you know, display ads and more expensive stuff.
It's South Dakota, Rich.
Chicago. Also.
Well, they're
The
not
reader.
live yet. They're not live yet.
I know, but that we're just waiting for them to give me graphics.
I know, but I just want to keep the record straight here.
Okay. We will have a customer in Chicago that
Right.
doesn't have a call center for classified.
Right. And they actually they were a part of the Chicago Reader was part of the Chicago Sun-Times, and it was spun off. They didn't do classifieds, and now they're going back to print classifieds. So again, if you have the right tools, and the goal is to make it self-contained in terms of the place ad. You don't need to staff up, and it really.
I guess my question would be is, you can have the right tools, but you got to convince people to use them. You got to direct people to go there. And when you're already using Facebook for however, other things in your life, I think it is easier to just go to the marketplace page. And so I guess my question is around that storytelling or that convincing to use the newspaper instead, especially when we've got a mostly older demographic who are used to looking at classifieds and using that source, but reaching a younger audience and trying to get those people on board. What?
Yeah, it was. Excuse me. It's really part of the overall strategy. I think branding is key. Promoting throughout for both print and online is important, and also you already have a list of existing advertisers who have advertised in the past. If you relaunch your self-service platform and say bigger, better, come and try it. We've had occasions where we have temporarily, have special packages to encourage people to say, if you do it online, you'll get a discount for the first X number of days to try to get some traffic. That's important. And I think, again, it's not going to be, you're really going for singles and doubles. You're not going to get a home run right away. And it's just going to make your overall operation better in terms of it's another great way for your readers, your community to engage with your newspaper. And if it's, a very small investment on your part, where you can see that there's a positive ROI, then it's just going to make your lives better. I mean, it really is a strategic kind of concept. Is classifieds important in your community? We think it is. We know that publishers around the US and Canada think that it is, because it's just an extension, another way to another touch point, if you will, for your advertisers and your readers.
I have a question. So we don't have an automated self-service classified arena here. I'm at the Provincetown Independent, way on the Outer Cape, so an hour and a half from the Falmouth Enterprise.
I know. I was in Provincetown a couple months ago. I should have stopped by.
Here I am.
Yeah. Right.
So we do it a very old-fashioned way. We have a person who edits the classified submissions that come in. Payment is on an honor system. It's really affordable. It's $5 for 50 words or less per week. And we're sort of reticent to make it self-service because we find that editing the classifieds section for style and substance creates a better read for the people who receive the paper. And we get a lot of really positive feedback about our classified section for that reason. So I wonder, do you have any systems in place for anyone who automates it? Is there a system in place for review to make sure that you aren't actually just accepting classified ads from said scammers that exist on Facebook and
absolutely
and Craigslist and any other online marketplace? We're reticent to move into the digital self-service arena because we just, we've got one person who's just this is not a real submission.
That's Emma, that's a great question. So as part of our process, we say up front that we the newspaper have the right to edit, change, whatever, regardless. We have final say, and we can give you the text, the verbiage to do that. And then what happens is you will approve that ad. The email confirmation goes to you as well, but it's a different template, right? So we give you more things to take a look at. And at that point, you can say, well, this is a scam. And so you can immediately cancel it and refund the payment.
Okay.
Or you could say, this really isn't right. Let's change it up. And then you have the workflow to be able to go back to the advertiser and say, hey, how about this or that? And you'll be able to change that ad on the fly through the system.
And
Okay,
the other thing in
interesting.
terms of,
Cool.
oh, sorry, Steve,
Go ahead.
in terms of the content and looking good, we build templates based on whatever your rules are, so that the ads have a standardized, look, it's a yard sale is a city, and then the dates, and then whatever. We can enforce all that formatting through templates, so that what you're going to get may still need to be edited, but it's going to be a lot closer to what your person would do if they were
Yeah.
to just create it.
And that
Okay,
and that
cool.
and that formatting style can be different for each category, right?
Mhm.
So, for your yard sales, you could have address, dates, location, timing, and so forth. For real estate, you could have nearby towns or whatever. So,
Yeah.
each category can have their own formatting style that you can enforce.
And whatever self-service, if you do go with a self-service, that's really a key element of it. If you're just taking a block of raw text, then you're definitely going to have to manually reformat that stuff. But if you have a template that builds the ad compliant to your styles, then yeah, you may have to edit it, but you may not even have to edit it at all.
Well, for the most part, yeah, for the most part, you won't edit. But if there's an
Mhm.
exception, you have the ability to do that, right?
Mhm.
So that's really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. And as far as we find that the older folks, believe it or not, are more loyal to classifieds than
Oh,
print
for sure.
classifieds, right?
Mhm.
So if you can give them a great experience, you'll just enhance that relationship. If you don't, again, if you don't have that complete round trip experience for place ad, then it becomes frustrating, right? Because somebody wants to sell their house, it's a Saturday, and they want to make sure it gets in the paper for the next week. But then they have to stop and wait for a callback. That's going to be on Monday morning or maybe Monday afternoon or whenever. And so you just lost that connection. But if you can round trip it, say, okay, it's done. I know it's fine. And then I can move on with my life. Then it's just a great experience, And they have that email confirmation. They can see what it's going to look like in print. And it's a Saturday night at 10 o'clock, right? So you're making money while you're out doing whatever you're doing on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock. So it really is that simple. And again, the incremental investment that you make, it's worth, it's worth it in terms of.
On the digital side, we see close to 60% of the digital users are mobile. So I don't know what your mobile statistics look like, but I mean, people are, our customers anyway, are using their phones to look at classifieds and, flip through it like, content. So
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Just about out of time.